right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Paul, thanks very much. Hello again, everyone. This is a Sunday night edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call at 412-575-2600. That is the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. We're here taking your calls until 11 o'clock. Give me a call. Give me a tweet. It's at KD Pomp. We have so much to get into, beginning with Le'Veon Bell. According to Adam Schefter, the Steelers have now put him on the table as trade bait. Does anyone want him? How much will it take to get him? He's clearly not interested in being here right now, and he may not play the entire season, forcing the Steelers' hand in the offseason. They may be done with this circus. The question is, however, it's a tricky trade if it is to get done, how it gets done. Number one, the Steelers want some compensation in return. How much that would be is debatable. Number two, the team that acquires him would have to not only get him to sign that tag, but then engage him in long-term talks, and he wants big money, and are they willing to do it for a 27, next year going to be a 28-year-old running back? Number three, the field should be limited in that it's the AFC. You don't want him to be in the AFC. You may want to look to the NFC. And if you do that, you're cutting in half your opportunity to trade him to a team and you know, have that field be as big as it could be. So there's a lot going on there with that, but clearly the Steelers have gotten to be fed up with this situation. And last year, it's a totally different situation. He was out. He came in for week one. Everyone knew it. And while he was out, he was tweeting about his workouts, which were impressive, no doubt. He was keeping in shape. This year, it's not that at all. It's about strip clubs. It's about parties. It's about jet skis. It's about rapping. It's about everything else but football. And every time he gets an opportunity, he tweets about it. So I think they've gotten tired of this. The question is, can a deal get done? And number two, if I call you or you call me, answer the question, do you want it to get done? Do you think the Steelers should trade him and be done with this? Keep in mind, if he does come in by week 9 or 10, which I got to believe he's going to do, he can be a fresh set of legs down the stretch, and you may need that at some point. There's no telling what the running game is going to be like. You want to believe James Conner could be the one to get it done, but how about if he doesn't? How about if something happens there and it's not as productive a run game? It hurts your offense. So there's still a lot of unfinished business here in this Le'Veon Bell saga. Let us know what you think at 412-575-2600. And then there's a game tomorrow. We'll talk about the nuances of Pittsburgh-Tampa Bay. It's pretty much the same offense they saw last week with Kansas City, but with an older quarterback running the ship, and he's done a pretty good job in Ryan Fitzpatrick. By the way, did you see Patrick Mahomes again today? 3 more touchdown passes. He has 13 touchdowns in 3 games to 9 different targets. 9 different people have caught touchdown passes and no interceptions. The kid has been terrific. They're 3-0. Texans are 0-3. Miami's 3-0. The NFL's hard to figure. If you had Buffalo beating Minnesota, please call here and tell me you did, because I can't believe anyone out there would have done that, especially if you're playing one of those survivor polls. Man, it's unbelievable how the NFL is so unpredictable. And tomorrow could be one of those games as well. What will it take for the Steelers to win? Let me know. It's got to be pressure on Fitzpatrick. They're going to go empty set. They're going to come after you every way in that passing game, and why wouldn't you? The Steelers have shown no ability to stop it. They're not good at tackling right now. They're letting guys run free in the secondary. They've got to change that tomorrow night. But it would help if the offense would take the ball and possess it for long periods of times and then turn it into touchdowns. 412-575-2600. We'll also talk about the Pirates, who lost today to the Brewers. That's not the story. The story was both Josh Harrison and Jordy Mercer being taken out of the game in the 8th inning. A very nice and classy move by Clint Hurdle to get much deserved round of applause from the people there at PNC Park today, given what they've done for this franchise, and they've been professional on and off the baseball field. So although there's a part of me that says, okay, so the organization now says basically we don't want you beyond this year, so we're going to take you out of a game. And we really don't have necessarily all the answers there either. You can say that Frazier's going to play second, but if you're committed to Newman at short, have we seen enough to make that designation? I still think they need bats in the offseason. Their pitching should be strong, but at the same time, you got to spend some money, and they aren't willing to do it with those two. And I believe that Josh Harrison is just too expensive for what he does. I can understand that. But Jordy Mercer is a pretty good third base or shortstop. They may have him go out and test the market, and maybe they won't rule it out. Maybe they can bring him back. I doubt it, but you never know. They both got nice ovations today. We'll talk about that. The Penguins lost today 3-2. They made some roster moves, and they have a very interesting dynamic at defense right now with UC Ricola. Finnish defenseman who looks ready to play in the NHL. Jim Rutherford was high on him when he signed him, and he's forcing their hand a bit can they keep him around, but at whose expense if they do? A lot of stuff going on there. And we have a good number one Cochran Sports Showdown tonight, 11:35, right after the late news. Join me along with my panel of Tim Benz, Ron Cook, and Will Graves. And we talk about all these topics and more, including Tiger Woods, which was an amazing story. I'll talk more about that. I'd like to get your take on Tiger Woods. Was this one of the most amazing comebacks you've seen in American sports recently? I mean, think about where he was and where he is now. 412-575-2600. That's the number. Give me a shout. I'm here until 11 o'clock right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.